Alright, friends. Oh my god. Tier shift. What the fuck? Everything is so scary. Like, bro. We got so many drops. So, yeah, what's up? It's September 1st. And we finally got the anticipated Giga drops. And as you can see here, not only did we get this long list here, we also unbanned everything that's in NUBL. Now, I do want to clarify this. This isn't including drought. We decided that keeping drought banned for now is probably better. It just would add, like, okay, you could say, oh, well, we already are kind of adding 1,000 elements to, you know, the tier, and the drought would just be another crazy thing, such as like all the wall breakers we got. But you know what? I think sun just adds an extra element that we really don't need to deal with. It's hard to explain, but I think sun would fuck up the tier in a much different way than the other things we got do. And now actually like looking, I know I normally do these videos like in the team builder. Oh, okay, that's lovely. You don't get to PM me though. Normally I look at the team builder and, you know, I'll have like stuff in here like, so, you know, I was theory modding the Scavangelus set. And normally I would have a whole bunch of Pokemon in here and I'd go over the sets here. There's just too many fucking things to do or to look at. I do have a team, by the way. Spectra Bombie's cool. But I think the easiest way for me to go about all this... Oh no, it's doing me. Hold on. I got a professional recorder. Yeah, let's put that up there so that doesn't mess up. Might record with this team later. Depends on when they update the ladder. But because of how many Pokemon there are that are now in the tier, I'm gonna just go over them in here and do my best to cover them adequately this way. First, I'm gonna cover the two rises we had though, because we actually lost Golurk and Ditto. Ditto, not at all relevant. I mean, it's just not. I believe Ditto rose to OE because of the ladder tournament. What? Where? What? Did I click on that name? I guess. Damn. But yeah, Ditto rose probably because of OE's ladder tournament. I think that happened this month. It never really picked up at all in the tier. And so, it doesn't really affect anything. Golurk is a bit different. It was probably one of the better wall breakers in the tier, one of the better offensive stealth rock setters. I also think Golurk was a big reason that Sticky Webs teams were good, at least in previous metagames. And so to lose that is a little bit unfortunate. It was a cool mon. But, it's... Despite it being like A- on the VR, I still don't think it's a huge loss. I think we can pretty easily replace it. And so now we're going to look at all of these Pokemon that did drop to tier. I'm going to cover the BL drops separately. Because, you know, as we see, they're all right here. So I don't want to, like, cover these three yet. So, first we got Aromatisse. Now, last generation Aromatisse pretty much always ran Trick Room Nasty Plot with a Z move. And it had Hidden Power, I think, as an option to give it coverage, and also had, like, Psychic typically ran with it, so that you could have at least the ability to hit not steel types, poison types. You were still walled by steel types, but most of them you could just overwhelm with raw strength through the assistance of Twinkle Tackle. But without Z moves, Aromatisse is a lot worse off versus steel types. Additionally, the fact that, like, instead of Steelix we have Galarian Stunfisk, which is just, you know, bulkier on the special side. I don't know how good it'll be offensively, because I don't think it got Mystical Fire. Maybe it did, and I'm just forgetting. But I think what you're more likely to see out of Aromatisse is defensive sets with Wish. Probably see that on a lot of stall builds. I don't know if it would usurp Clefairy's role on such teams, because honestly, I never used Clefairy as my Wish Passer when I ran bulkier teams. I'd always go for, like, Togedemaru, because I like the resistances that it brought. But yeah, Aromatisse is a hard mon for me to really say much about. It's also hard for me to say much about anything because the tier's been out for 3 hours, but hey, I think there is something to just trying to guess what things could run based on previous metas and what they just have access to. Look at Cincino, it got triple axle, so I really don't know which Relaxel means for it. I guess it is a little bit stronger, and I believe it... Skill Link, I have heard that means it hits 5 times. I don't know if that's true. But if it is, that's scary as hell. That's really strong. I think Sensino still suffers from a lot of the same stuff that it has though in previous metas, where again there's Galarian Stunfisk instead of Steelix. Rhydon could switch into its stab attack. You have Kofa as well. Like there are just a lot of ghosts in general, despite like some of them dropping to PU. I think it was actually only one, but I mean hell, there's even this Galarian Corsola. Got Sableye now as well. We still have like Silvally Steel that returned. I don't think Sensino should be better than it was last gen at least, because I think Steelix was really just really annoying for it. Even if you ran like CB knock, you still had to get rid of the lefties and then slowly chip it down, and it could have wish support really easily. It was awful. I think it might be a little bit harder to fit those kinds of like wish cores. And Sensino is pretty fast. It's reasonably strong. I think it could have a fair niche. Again, I think you'll probably see like probably either Life Orb or just CB. And I think Life Orb's probably a little bit better. I don't think the chip damage matters too much. And if you're not running U-turn, if you're running like say Tail Slap, Knock, Bullet, Seed, Rock Blast, or you know whatever coverage, I think you get away with Life Orb. I hate Life Orb on U-turn mons just because it always feels so sad to have to pivot out and take that little chip damage. Clawitzer, honestly, it's a weird mon because it competes with a lot of other wall breakers, like Eggialola, Drampa, just out of the drops. It does have Terrain Pulse now, so I wonder if there's something to using it with Pincurchin or Thwackey. Because if you run, say it with Thwackey, and then you have a way to hit Gastrodon for, you know, an Oko, I'm assuming, you can also hit Lantern a lot harder. Subtoxic might work still. It was a good set last gen, and it could take advantage of any like Gastrodon not running a ground move, which maybe some will want Clear Smog. Not sure yet. Yeah, I mean, there's really not a lot to say about Clawitzer. It's a wall breaker that's slow. Spec sets do sound a little bit difficult to get the most run out of because we have like 2 new water immunities at the tier in Jellicent and Gastrodon. But Clawitzer's coverage has always been really annoying to play around, and I think if you can at least predict properly with the mon, it'll always put in work. Then we got Corsola Galar. Honestly, this drop makes me think Stall might get used more, in addition to like some other drop we got. It'll just be generally annoying. It's gonna run, you know, Strength Sap, Rocks, Wisp, Nightshade. I mean, I could see it making Stall more relevant. It is cool to have a non-ground type Stealth Rock setter. You know, we had Miltank that we got last month. Now we got Galarian Corsola. I don't know if I'd ever use it on anything other than Stall though. I just feel like it's such a momentum sink with how easy it is to like shut down with smart play. And Pure Ghost isn't a great defensive typing. Kofa kind of is the exception because of how bulky it is and how not reliant on an item it is. Corsola is super reliant on its item. And while it does have recovery, wherein Kofa doesn't, its recovery is Strength Sap, which somehow makes, like, in comparison, Rest somehow seems a little bit better. It also just gets hard shit on by Special Croak, which isn't great. And now I'm going to cover all 3 of these next drops in one little bit, because we got 3 Dragon-type wall breakers, which is kind of funny. I'll start with Duraludon, because I think it's probably the like least problematic of all of them. I know some people might think otherwise, because it's fast, but Duraludon's coverage is really pretty bad, actually. It's got, like, Dragon moves, Steel moves, and then, like, Thunderbolt and Body Press. It's not very good. It leaves a lot of room for Steel types to just give you issues, because I don't think this thing's Body Press is that strong. It does have a pretty high defense stat, but you're not going to be investing in that. You're going to be investing in your speed, you're going to be investing in your special attack, and I don't know how much you can actually dedicate to trying to make Body Press stronger. And in addition, because it's got that really limited coverage, again, like special attacks, you don't have a lot that you can run. It can't really run those specs set. It can't run specs if it would like want to run those, maybe break through something like Gastrodon more reliably. Because like at that point, if you want a specs dragon type, just run Eggy or Drampa. They're just stronger. They have a lot better coverage too. Even if they lack a wide pool of moves they can run, their moves just have better coverage and are stronger, frankly. Like, Eggy Alola can run Draco and Leaf Storm on the same set. That's hard to switch into. They also have better defensive utility, I would say. Dragon Steel's like not the best typing. Like, you do end up getting some neutralities that Dragon types would normally suffer from. Like, you get an Ice neutrality, so you're not weak to that anymore. You get a Fairy neutrality. But its special bulk's so shit that it kind of just ends up not mattering. I guess in the case of Sneasel, it doesn't hate that matchup as much. So that's something. And just looking at both Drampa and Eggy, because they're pretty much the same Pokemon, they do the same thing. Drampa's probably a little bit... I want to say Drampa's maybe a little bit better. It depends on how the ghost types of the tier pan out. This Gorg Small actually dropped out of NU finally, but I want to say Drampa's probably better just because it doesn't have the issue of being weak to as many just random moves. Like, it kind of just sucks with Eggy if you just get chipped for extra by a U-turn. I don't know. It's hard for me to draw much of a distinction between the two. I think Drampa likes being able to do more, though. Drampa having access to Roost gives it the ability to just say, okay, I'll run Life Orb 3 attacks Roost. It could run like Calm Mind sets as well, whereas Eggy's... you could run Trick Room, but I think Trick Room sets aren't as good because they don't have that breaking power that you want. I mean, they're still really strong, but I think the big appeal to Eggy is specs, whereas Drampa does have a bit more flexibility. Honestly, I could see one of these two getting banned. I wouldn't be surprised. When we go to Frostmoth, Ice Scales is a cool ability. This mon has no like coverage for steel types. I believe it has Ice, Bug, Grass, and Hurricane. But Ice Scales makes it really bulky on the special side. So like after a Quiver, I imagine you could maybe even take like an attack from Ninetales, which would be kind of funny. It probably makes Butterfree unviable now, I would imagine. And you can run the Boots, of course, so that you don't have to deal with the horrible Stealth Rock weakness, so that's good. There's really not a whole lot to say about Frostmoth. It's very linear in what I think it can actually do. So I don't think I would run any set other than Quiver 3 attacks with Boots. The nice thing is that it can beat up on Galarian Stunfisk at least, or it's not like hopeless against it, but I imagine those are going to run Stone Edge a shit ton right now, especially to hit stuff like Sigilyph. So I feel like that might be more of an on-paper nice thing than it in practice. Let me get Galvantula, which right now I'm not sure how good it will be, but in the future, depending on what gets banned, I could see being very good. The main issue for it right now is going to be Vigavolt's just better. Like, I think the power of Vigavolt and the bulk is just nicer than Galvantula's speed. And the speed from Galvantula also becomes less of a selling point, because there are just so many other fast wall breakers right now that I think I'd rather use on my team. I'm not gonna like Sneasel, Sigilyph, Haunter. Yeah, Galvantula's faster in some of these, but they still sit at nice speed tiers. I showed it, I think, right at the beginning, but I think maybe a boot set could be really cool. We've been seeing a lot of Pokemon like Heliolisk, Zeraora in higher tiers just slapping on boots and make so they could pivot a lot more reliably. I think we could see Galvantula do something similar, and it also, again, it let you just slap webs on it. its coverage between with electric and grass is good enough. You're really only walled by Togedemaru, which I think is probably actually a good Pokemon again, just throwing those thoughts out there. I remember a big thing I said was, there aren't fairy types certain to soft check. Well, now we have Rabombi and Whimsicott again, so I think Scarf Toge is good again. Then we go to Gastrodon, that's going to be really good. I think especially defensive sets are really going to be the only ones worth running. But you get soft check stuff like Rabombi, Sigilif, maybe. Actually, I guess it would depend on the Sigilif set. But I could see maybe if you have Clear Smog, you could stop some of those like double dance setups ones, you know, like Cosmic CM. I'll probably just run dual stabs on it though. I don't know, I think that's the most reliable. Jellicent's also cool. I like getting Gastro and Jellicent just because it gives us better bulky water types than what we were working with. Like, both of these have recovery, so I think Wishy-Washy is probably officially unviable, which is good. It should never have been viable to begin with. I hate this generation. Why did fucking Wishy-Washy become unviable? Or become viable, my bad. But yeah, both of these do like similar things, just fat water types with recovery. They're also like really easy to fit on teams because they have immunities. I really like Gastrodon being both immune to water and electric, and being as bulky as it is especially because it lets you shut down a lot of stuff. You could check Rabombi. I think it gets Energy Ball, but I don't know if it'll run it. I believe I have Energy Ball in my specs Rabombi, so it probably will. But Gastrodon's really cool. We're checking stuff like Haunter. That's the big one. I really wish I could like justify opening another tab right now, but it's hard to. Trust me, fools. Fools, what? I don't know why I called you that. I'm so sorry. Oh, I remembered it. It was a Pokemon I was trying to think of. Fuck. No, it slipped. No! I'm trying to... Rotom, yes. Rotom's a huge one. Rotom is just... Specs Rotom in general had kind of fallen off at one point because I think people just forgot about it with how good Decidueye had been. But I think now... It's just really nice to, again, have that Pokemon that can just shut down Rotom arbitrarily. And Jellicent's a little bit weirder because Water Ghost is just kind of an awkward typing in some ways. And it does get fucked on by a lot of the breakers. It's mostly just nice because you can check like Rhydon. It could consistently switch into those Stealth Rock setters, taunt them, prevent them from actually doing anything. It's got a pretty good speed tier as well. I think it's base 65 or 60. One of those. But you don't have to invest too much speed into just being able to disrupt them with Taunt, which is good. We get Mudsdale here. Mudsdale will either make Sandaconda unviable, or... I don't know. The interesting thing is, Mudsdale was really good in RU and Sandaconda was not, but I don't know if that means that Mudsdale will be really good here and Sandaconda won't be. You know? It's weird. Because a lot of our breakers don't care about Mudsdale. A lot of our setup sweepers are special. I do think, if I were to say one reason that Mudsdale would push Sandaconda into irrelevancy, it would be because of the special bulk. Mudsdale could actually check special Toxicroak. I believe it has like 100 HP, base 80 Spadef. That's not bad. That's actually like really good, I would say. I mean, not really good, but that's pretty good. You don't even have to EV to live +2 Focus Blast from Life Orb Toxicroak, if I'm remembering correctly. So, that's something. You also check SD Silvally really, really well with Stamina still. Whereas Sandaconda could just glare them, though. Mudsdale is a little bit, you know, not as well off. Sandaconda still took the hit from full, so, you know. When you get to Ninetales, I've seen some people saying that they think Ninetales will be awful. I disagree. Again, keep in mind, we did not unban Drought, so this is going to be running Flash Fire. But it still has Energy Ball for grass coverage. Psyshock to hit, like, the random Marinis that people might run. I think Nasty Plot, like, Fire Move, Energy Ball, Psyshock should be really good. And again, keep in mind, there are 3 really big things, I think, that give Ninetales a good spot. Nasty Plot and the Speed tier being two of those, but one of the most important one is competition. Look at the other fire types that we have in the tier, right? Rapidash and Sylvally Fire. And Terminator too, but I'll get to Terminator later and why I'm not really counting it here. But Rapidash, just I don't see it being any good right now. I think just the tier got even more hostile towards it. Ninetales could deal with a lot of the checks to those two a lot more easily, I would say. And if you wanted to compare like Special Sylvally Fire to Special Ninetales, Ninetales has Nasty Plot, so it can get stronger faster. And it, again, can run an item. You notice like a turn to why Sylvally Fire is not as good as it used to be, just as it gets more competition. So yeah, I like Ninetales. Pincurchin's viability will never be stemming from Pincurchin itself. It'll always be stemming from what Pokemon can make use of electric terrain support. I mean, you know, we looked at Clawitzer maybe can. Maybe we see Thievul paired with it. Although Thievul might, I don't know, Thievul might be still fine. Burning Jealousy might just be a lot better now on it than it used to be. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about Pincurchin. It's very hard to figure out where it'll actually fall. Just because it depends entirely on what Pokemon decide to be ran with it. I mean, we don't have Raichu Alola, thankfully. So I don't know. Polywrath, I don't really know if Polywrath is going to be all that relevant. It checks Sneasel, which is nice. And I believe it got Drain Punch. So maybe there's something with Subtoxic on this to like beat stuff down like Jellicent. But I'm not too sure. Rhydon will be fucking amazing. It might take... Rhydon is a little bit in an awkward position right now because Sigilyph, I feel, makes it really hard to not want to run Stunfisk Galar. But Rhydon's strong as hell, bulky as hell. Has Heat Crash, of course, this gen, and given how high I am on Ferroseed right now as a Pokemon, yeah, I would say Rhydon having Heat Crash is pretty cool for that. Rabombi, I've already mentioned, this is probably top tier. This is a Pokemon I don't want banned. I really like Rabombi just as a Pokemon, but I wouldn't be surprised if we banned it. I think Specs is by far and away its best set. Like Trick, Moonblast, Energy Ball, Psychic. I think Quiver Dance is just hard to justify when Frostmoth, in my eyes, probably does it a lot better. Because both Rabombi and Frostmoth suffer from the same issue of Steel types. Can't really break them. But Frostmoth being just bulkier, mostly due to its ability, makes me just want to say it will be superior as a Quiver Dancer. Whereas Rabombi at least has Trick and U-Turn if you can somehow justify it, which I've been struggling to. I think Rabombi has more tools that lend it to run a really good spec set. Runerigus is an interesting one. Ground Ghost, again, we just lost Golurk, and I don't see this running offensive so much. But it does have Poltergeist now, so it's got that like good ghost move. And Ground Ghost is a nice combination for stab coverage. It's just so weird. I don't know how easily I could justify it over Kofa. I think most of it will just come down to like what you partner it with. I know Eternally, I was talking with him, and he was saying Runerigus plus Ferroseed sounds like a pretty good combination. And I agree. They have really good defensive synergy. Ferroseed's able to cover for a lot of the issues Runerigus has that Kofa does not. Sableye, it's linked to Stall, probably. I don't know. I feel like if you wanted a Ghost type on balance, you just always go Kofa. You know? But Prankster Sableye will always be useful to some degree, just because Will-O-Wisp is so nice to be able to always get off if you need to, in a pinch, cripple something like a Gallade. Like a Sylvally, something like that. Alolan Sandslash got Spikes as gen, that's really cool. And it checks Vanillix. As well as the fairies. Don't really know if it does a whole lot beyond that. I think some of its extra uses will be dependent on how good Hail as an archetype is. But I think it's a cool mon. Sigilyph, again, it's a Pokemon I wouldn't be surprised to see banned within the day, or within a couple days. Coverage is bonkers. You can't Pursuit Trap it. It's immune to rocks. It has a lot of sets. Eh, maybe I'll be proven wrong with Sigilif. But this is a mon that my eyes are like very much on. Valley Steel, I've given my thoughts on this Pokemon a million times. I love just the little moveset variations that you can do with it. Swords Dance, Multi, U-Turn, Flame Charge, Defog, all are just so great on it. You could run more defensive-based sets on bulkier builds, or even just balance. And bulky sets are only going to be better now with more fairies. Although maybe you still run offensive, I don't know. It really just depends on how much bulk you need to deal with Ribombee and Whimsy. And in Whimsy, again, one of my favorite Pokemon, much like Ribombee. Love this thing. Spec sets are really cool. It's got a lot of cool utility options that you can do. Like you got U-turn, knockoff, switcheroo, just ways to cripple your checks, or just bypass them entirely if you want to talk about U-turn. Now, we get to all the Pokemon that we unbanned. So Tauros, like some of these might still just be broken, but we wanted to give them all a shot. So let's talk about Terminator, because I just think this is broken still. I haven't seen any reason that it wouldn't be. Nothing actually like handles it. If it boosts up, it's still so naturally bulky that you don't even need White Herb. You can just run Boots as its item. Its coverage is, you're pretty much just running Fire and Dragon, but that's really all you need. That's a really good offensive coverage combination. Yeah, you need Timid on it because you need to outspeed. I think it's Tauros. I think at +2, if you're modest, you actually are outsped by Tauros. But Timid doesn't really lose power to a degree that would be too crippling. And let's go to Haunter, because that's also another Pokemon that I wouldn't be surprised to see banned again. It helps into tiers faster now. This Haunter, when it was banned originally, it definitely benefited from the tier centralized around the base 95 point. But average speed has only gone up since Haunter's ban from NU. Maybe that makes it more manageable. I just don't know. It's so hard to switch into. It's so strong. It's got ways of crippling its checks. It's got enough defensive utility as well to where it doesn't really struggle with finding offensive switch-ins. Or chances to switch in offensively. Or even, I guess I'd be estimated to say switch it defensively, right? Like maybe switch into a Rhydon Earthquake or something. Tauros also still looks a little bit worrying. Mostly because Throat Chop is Sheer Force boosted for some reason. But Tauros is a mon I'm more willing to give a chance to because there are Pokemon like Ribombee and Whimsicott that can outspeed it. There are Pokemon that can at least take a hit from it, like Kofa, Runaregis. So maybe we think it's better. Rhydon also being around now is helpful, for sure. Vanillix doesn't like the fact that we have a lot more Steel types now. Like, Steel Valley, Sandslash, Alola. And the tier being a little bit faster, I would say, after these changes, right? Yeah, you get things even like Cincino, Ninetales. That's one that's... Vanillix will be one that we still watch for, I believe. But it looks a lot more manageable now, in my opinion. Vikavolt, low-key, looks kind of broken still, but no one's talking about it, so I don't know for sure. I just feel like Vikavolt's better than Galvantula, like I said earlier, because you have recovery, you still have webs, you're stronger, you're bulkier. Like, this mon is such a pain in the ass to actually switch into. And when we originally banned Vikavolt, like, it was still slow for that tier's definition of slow back in, like, March. I don't really think anything has changed in that front. But I don't know for sure. Gallade... We have more fairy types that are faster than it now. If you're noticing, like, the trend is a lot of, for some of these, like, more middling speed Pokemon, or more, like, average to above average, a lot of it's just tiers faster. And so maybe we can deal with them better. I think it's also just that we have more ways to pivot around Gallade's attacks now. So that'll just help a lot. We also have something like Sableye, where, again, Sableye does just hard wall Gallade and can always get off of the Prankster Will-O-Wisp, which is really cool. And the last, and least in my eyes, is Kingler. I don't think Kingler's a problem anymore for the tier. I think it should be able to fit in pretty nicely. The main issue for Kingler used to be its coverage and how low drawback it was to just throw out liquidations consistently, but we got a lot of liquidation switch-ins now, some of which are immune to it. So in my eyes, it is going to be a lot easier to play around. Who knows, maybe Swords Dance sets will just still be too much of an issue. But even then, like, so long as you can just revenge kill it, does it matter? I don't know. But yeah, guys, I think the tier looks a lot more fun now. There's so much running around now. It just looks fun. Like, I really like Rabombi, I really like Whimsicott, I really like at least being able to test some of the previously bans. Duraludon's a mon that I want to try out some. Maybe I just want to click some Dracos with something like Eggy or Trampa. We got a lot of options, and I'm very excited to see what this month will end up being like. I will not use Stall. Nope. Nope. Might try Hail. Sandslash plus Vanillix sounds kind of fun, or Sandslash plus Abomasnow. One of those two combinations. I'm not too sure which one I'd go with yet. Vanillix is 1000% the better Pokemon. Maybe I just run both. Anyhow, guys, thank you for watching. I might have a live out later tonight. I don't know. Depends. I'm mostly just trying, because it depends on, like, if the ladder's not updated, I just can't record a live. Maybe I'll stream some team building tonight. Depends. It'll be at like 8 o'clock if I do decide to stream, so if you are still watching at this point in the video, hey, be on the lookout for a stream at 8. I might go for one. Depends on when I get back from the gym and whatnot. And just if the tier's updated. I do want to stream though. I think that'd be fun for the 100 sub special. Until then, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun with this tier. I think there's a lot of cool stuff to play with. And I'll see you guys then. Peace.